My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is our Thursday call-in show. This is a live show that premium members can join. You can hop into the show, ask questions, make comments, talk about all the things. The only thing you need to do is be a premium member. And if you are a premium member, the link to join this video is in two places. One is in the Discord. Just click on the Premium Alerts channel and you can hop in from there. And the other place is on your account page on Premium. Just log in the Premium on the website, click on Account, and you will see a red button right there next to the other option that says Call In Show. Click that button, join the stream, ask some questions, and hang out. Before we take some callers, there are a bunch of people in the queue. I see you there. Before we take some callers, let's just talk about Premium membership very, very quickly. It's only $10 a month. It gets you the world. Of course, you can call into the show every week, but you're also going to get access to picks, bets, round line leans, and more. It's the most comprehensive premium membership on planet Earth. And you're going to get far more than just Jacob and I. You're going to get Artem breaking down PFL. PFL is either tonight or tomorrow, and you're going to get all of Artem's PFL picks and bets for this week and every other week. You're going to get the Pick Doctor. The artificial intelligence picks are already up now for UFC Vegas 91. You're also going to get the DraftKings optimizer, which will be preloaded with the ownership projections and the detailed data, metrics, and analytics. Again, all of this is up there right now for UFC Vegas 91. As soon as one card is over, we flip it to the next card, even if there is a week off. Everything I mentioned and so much more, WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. I think it's just going to be me today for the call-in show. Jakey Boy is actually enjoying the week off, but we do have some people in the queue. I'm going to go to you, Star Killer, so get your shit together. I see you fucking around with something. You're on. How you doing? And you're on mute. You're muted. Oh, boy.
Sorry,
there we go.
It's been a while. I haven't called you guys in a while.
You're good. What's going on? How are you?
Jacob's lucky. I had a bone to pick with him.
Oh, you can still do it. He probably isn't watching. He actually doesn't watch our shit. But what was your bone with him?
Oh, no, I just, I said something kind of, I didn't think it was stupid, but it was at like 5 o'clock in the morning while I was getting ready for work, and then just dogged me out on it. So I was like, damn.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But, it happens. What you gonna do?
There you go. Well, what do you got for me?
I didn't know I was going to be first, but
you literally were the first. I'm just doing these in order. And actually, then the next person, there's some people without cameras on. You're not hopping on this show without your camera on.
yeah,
FYI.
right. Yeah.
So what do you got? You literally were just unprepared. You were going to wait to see what other people said and then just come up with something on the fly.
Oh, no. No, there was, because I had a couple questions about how when you guys, because like I like the call-in shows, and I used to call in a lot like around November-ish when I became a member.
Sure.
But like when you guys like make picks, like if there's like a way we could not like, obviously not like give you shit for it or anything, but like just kind of try to see like where you were coming from on it. Because like when you guys do your like rundowns and everything, it's really cool.
Sure.
But you kind of you're and you don't.
We can't focus on the chat. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to pull away the curtain too much, but just kind of getting a little bit more info on like why you guys took, especially some of your round leans, because like I've noticed, especially in the last like month or so, like there's some that I was like, whoa, didn't even think about that one, and then it hits, and it's just like shit. How'd you pull that one out?
Yeah, I mean, you could ask those questions here for sure on the call-in shows
I was just saying, because like I don't want to obviously like give away the picks.
Yeah.
Well, like give away your
sure.
picks,
Well, so I guess it is so picks are free, right? So obviously on premium membership, the picks are there. The round line leans are there. That's included with premium and all that. But if it's depending on what the pick is, we talk about here. But also there is the premium, the WWP Lounge channel in Discord. That's a premium channel. So only premium members can see that. So you can just hit, you can go in that channel and at me with a question or at Jacob with a question in that channel specifically.
Alrighty. Yeah, because the general gets that gets wild sometimes.
Yeah, and it depends on, it could be on topic, off topic, depends who's awake, who isn't awake. And it's, it could be all over the place for sure.
Oh yeah. Kind of not like too fight related, but the UFC, I don't know if you guys know that the case that was the class action lawsuit that was going for fighter pay.
They just settled.
Yeah, settled. Do you think that that was smart for the fighters going forward, or do you think they probably should have? Yeah,
they should not have settled. They should not have settled because, frankly, there should be a fighter union. It's kind of crazy that there isn't. It's the only major professional sport without a union, and the way the UFC gets away with it is they basically say, well, these aren't employees. They're freelance contractors, and they can come and go, but they can't come and go. They're contractually obligated, and so before the lawsuit, and you may know this, but some people actually may not. Before the lawsuit, the UFC played a lot of games. Like if you held a belt, you literally could never get out of your contract while you were the champion. It would just have a championship clause that would just continue to add fights endlessly with the pay already established. You couldn't even renegotiate. And they didn't have any timeline obligations in there. So you would have a 3-fight contract, and they would have to offer you, or not, they wouldn't have to, you would have to fight 3 times before the contract was expired. But then a lot of the contracts had 3 fights guaranteed and then 3 more optional. And there was a lot of tricks that they would play and games that they would play. And this goes all the way back to the class action lawsuit started with like Kung Lee and Randy Couture and Rich Franklin, and they had to deal with some of those games with the UFC not giving them fights, not allowing them to fight. So anyway, when the class action lawsuit was filed and it wasn't immediately, it's been like 4 years or something, and it wasn't immediately thrown out and it continued to move through the court system, the UFC tried to get ahead of it and they started adding things in the contract. So now the UFC has to offer you a certain number of fights. And they'll still play games. They'll be like, here's the Beast Dagestani, take it or leave it. Oh, you declined it? Well, then that doesn't count, So they still play those games. But long story long at this point, the fighters in that lawsuit for and I'm sure that this chunk of fighters made a good amount of money in that settlement. But the reality is there should be a union in the UFC, and nobody will ever be taken care of the way they're supposed to if there isn't.
And it's like at this point, would it just be like the government that would step in?
No, they tried the.
Because obviously the fighters don't care enough to push it. Oh, am I breaking up a little bit? A
little bit, but I got your point. You're saying would the government step in? So there is this law called the Muhammad Ali Act, and that governs some boxing stuff that really tried to clean up some of the shady promoters in boxing, the shady managers in boxing, and all of that. They tried to apply that to MMA, but it doesn't work the same way. It didn't apply the same way, and it just didn't work. It kind of got thrown out a little bit. So the reality is I don't think the government will step in because people are getting paid. It's a choice. You don't need, why? The government would only step in if people were being taken advantage of and they were violating labor laws. That's not happening. You don't have to fight. There's no labor laws that are being violated here. It's just not as competitive as it should be, but there's still plenty of competition out there, so the government can't even step in and call it a monopoly. So the government, I don't think, will ever step in outside of the athletic commissions doing what they do. So, no, the fighters, and to your point, you said the fighters don't care. I think that the problem is the only way for the fighters to make a difference is if either every single one of them are on the same page, which they're not, or the giant superstars are. If all the champions got together and said we're unionizing, well, then that's a problem for the UFC. But if a whole bunch of random middle-of-the-road guys say we're unionizing, there's just some young, hungry fighter right behind them ready to step up and take their slot. So until that stuff happens, it'll keep operating. And it's just tricky because you cannot make a living as a professional fighter. It's impossible. You just can't. Not one that you can rely on for a meaningful amount of time, for sure.
I agree. And also, too, congratulations, randomness, but congratulations on the fight as well. Jacob was talking a lot of shit before that. So
yeah. No, I know. I felt good about that. I will say, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say there was a couple times before that, man. I was like getting angry for you, because usually I'm on Jacob's side for it, but I'm like, dude, man, you're man. You're a lot more calm than I would be in those situations.
He's got that kid brother energy for sure, and he knows how to get under. He knows how to get under the skin. He knows how to push. He knows how to twist the knife a little bit, and I mean that's our dynamic. That's how it works. So, but yeah, there are times where I'm just not in the mood, but I know him. So I mean, we've been friends for a long time in real life, like meaning outside of this show, long before the show started. So I know him so well that I can tell when he's like being a fucking nudge. And like the longer I've known him, the better I'm getting at. Like if I just ignore it, it'll go away. If I just keep moving on, it'll end. So, but yeah, thanks to what was funny about the fight is I genuinely, I mean, listen, it was never a fair fight. Never a fair fight. I'm a giant compared to him. I have done every form of combat sport for the last 20-something years, more than 30 years. So it was never a fair fight, never even close. But I still was that whole day I was nervous, and not nervous I was going to lose. I was nervous like if I look stupid at all for even a half a second, that's a major win for him. This is a problem. So, and the whole thing was being filmed, and so anyway, I was pleased with how it came out. So,
oh, absolutely.
What the hell is that noise?
My fiance is meowing at my cat.
Oh, thank God you said fiance in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Apparently, that could have been a little X-rated. So,
yeah, there you go.
Dodged the bullet there. There was another thing to get kind of a little different topics than usually are brought up on these call-in shows. There is a thing, because you guys have been talking about, it's another kind of bigger issue, like the scoring with MMA and kind of how it seems like the judges have kind of flip-flopped on how they treat wrestling heavy people with it's more control based than using the wrestling to get submissions or ground and pound, and how they're kind of scoring that. It seems like now they're kind of more going towards no matter what happens, just wherever the damage is. Yeah. And you can kind of tell that it's kind of affecting how some of the, I want to say, newer fighters are kind of in these first couple fights in the UFC kind of playing it out as like, how am I scoring here?
I hate how fights have been scored recently. Like I hate, and I've been watching this since day one. I've literally seen every single UFC ever while it aired, outside of the period of time where it wasn't allowed on TV. And, wrestling was always a meaningful thing that happened. And I don't think they adjusted the rules. I don't think they adjusted the scoring criteria. And people say, well, control doesn't matter. And I get control is like a tiebreaker. But if we ignore the control aspect of it, it's effective striking, effective grappling, damage. So what is effective grappling if it isn't me taking you down? If I try to take you down, and I do, I was effective. That was effective grappling. If I hold you there and do nothing with it, I can understand you saying, well, you did nothing with it. So that control aspect doesn't matter. I'd argue, well, that's part of grappling. I held you there. That's part of grappling. But also I'd argue, what did you do? I took you down. I did something. I got you to the ground. What did you do? Oh, you landed 3 punches on the feet. So I don't like this whole new environment where, if somebody has a bit of a bloody nose and the other person's a wrestler's fucked, bloody nose wins. That's the end of it. I hate how this is going.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, because I was kind of on the other side, because like I wrestled in high school too, so like I do kind of like the wrestling aspect, but I kind of get the thing of like, it's a fight,
Sure.
You should be doing some damage, but it's also too like, I mean, if we're on the streets and I take you down and you're not getting up, I mean, how are you getting away from that? There's no 5-minute rounds there, so it's like there is still a fight aspect to the control.
Well, and here's a comment. This is one of those comments that doesn't make sense. He says, y'all overcomplicate it. Control matters if the other fighter can't do anything about it. If they can get up and get away and outstrike, they win. So how would somebody win if we're standing? Let's say you're getting a little bit of the better striking, but I take you down. I did something, you couldn't stop it. You stand back up, I take you down. I'm continuing to do something that you can't stop. How is that automatically a win for the striking? Where does it say in the rules and the scoring criteria that striking is more important than grappling? Now, if you defend 8 takedowns and I get 1 and do nothing with it, of course, that makes sense to me. But if I take you down and I beat you up a little bit down there, and even if I hold you, like the Isaac Dolgarian thing, there's not a person on this planet that is going to convince me Isaac Dolgarian lost that second round. And anybody saying that he lost that second round,
there's not enough time.
Angelo, what are some bad scorecards? I'm talking about one right now. If anybody's saying that Isaac Dolgarian lost that second round, if they gave it to him and he won that fight, there's not a single person on planet Earth that would argue the other way. But because the fight went that direction and they all loved, what's his name? C-Rod. So people are just going to argue because that's this world. People just want to argue. And then, and then here's the it factor, who's never read the actual rule book, just sort of saying things in the comment section. Striking matters more because it does damage. It's all, show me. I would love if you could point and use unfortunately, every commission has different rules. Show me in the Nevada Athletic Commission MMA rules where it says striking matters more than grappling, or damage matters more than striking, or damage matters. Show me where it distinguishes what matters more, because it doesn't. It just lists what matters.
Oh yeah.
That's
and they don't
that,
even,
and
in the rules, they don't even use the word damage. They use impact. So to me, it's like that control time, if you're really not doing, and it's like too, like he only had like what, 11 seconds to 18 seconds.
It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. He didn't
like,
rock
I mean,
him.
unless you're knocking somebody down in that instance, like there's really no way you can win in that amount of time over 4 minutes and 11 seconds of.
And then here's the reply from the genius community. UFC scoring criteria, bro. First of all, it's not, let's be clear, it's not the UFC's scoring criteria. It's the Athletic Commission's scoring criteria. Whether it's UFC or whatever, the government, literally the government's criteria. It is the government employees and the judges that say who won that fight. So it's not the UFC's scoring criteria. And if it is, if you're right, bro, show me the rule. Show me it. Just Google it. Should only take you 5 seconds. Show me exactly where it says that. Show me where it says that. And no, the rules are the rules. Now, when the PFL shows up and they have different rules, no elbows on the ground, you know what? The scoring criteria for the judges remains identical, because that is dictated by the Athletic Commission and the government employees that are the judges. You're just spinning the reels, so call in. You're just spinning your wheels saying nonsense. You have an opinion, and that's great, but it's not fact. Show facts.
I'm with you on that.
So that's the only thing that drives me nuts. And I could listen here. The only valid argument would be, okay, the scoring criteria is grappling, striking, and damage, and they're equal. Well, you took me down 5 times, but I outstruck you and bloodied you up. Well, that's 2 of the 3. So that could be an actual argument. Yeah. But that's not what we're fighting here. That's not what we're debating here. And so, first of all, if you're a premium member, the link is on your account page. Log in and click. If you're not a premium member, well, pay the $10, then you can hop on board. Yeah, and frankly, don't show up just repeating the same bullshit. Show up with I'll let you share your screen. Show up with the Athletic Commission's rules on screen, and we'll talk about it then. Because just repeating yourself and nonsense without citing a source isn't going to win. That's just not how it's going to work.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. This guy says, Angelo, why'd you pick Jalen? I did not pick Jalen. Did not pick Jalen. Pretty clear there. This is what's going on with this damn show. Star Killer. People are all over the place.
My bad.
What else you got for me here?
There was something else about one of the picks. I can't remember who you picked for next week.
I was all over Karine Silva at underdog money. I bet on her at underdog money. She's now like a medium-sized favorite, so it will be interesting.
And that was insane to me. Her opening as underdog. Like I get Lipsky's been looking good and she's a veteran, but like, dude, Karine Silva's a freaking savage.
She is, and I know her last fight, people were like, well, her opponent took herself down. You're right. But, I mean, 17 wins, 17 finishes, like, you know, and Ariana Lipsky has looked good recently, but, you know, recency bias is very real.
So I think she's, you know, top 10 in her division at best. I don't think she's a top 5 or a title contender. You know?
Well, and at a certain point, we're going to see Karine Silva not be able to finish somebody, and then we'll find out like how just like, oh boy, she is terrible, and she might look like Walter Walker, or
oh no, I hope not.
Walter Walker's an absolute.
That's a name I never want to hear again.
What a joke! Real quick, Mark said, "Does anyone know when full PFL props come out?" I'm looking at Bet Online. I don't know what book you use. Bet Online has 6 props for every single fight already out, up and running. So. If you want to sign up for BetOnline, if you don't already have BetOnline, use this link right smack in front of you on the screen. We'll send you $50. But BetOnline has every single PFL fight and every single prop bet for those fights. I don't watch PFL at all. I don't have the energy or care enough.
Yeah, and it's like some of their cards are hit and miss too. Like it's like some of the fight, and also because I feel like with how much they have to fight, some of the fights are just, you can tell they're exhausted before they even get in there.
Yeah, I mean it's second tier for sure. I mean, it's a fun product at times, but it's second tier. They're not going to build talent from zero and challenge anybody for it. So they have a weird business model where they have to make their money on some TV deals and selling local tickets because they're not going to be able to build a giant superstar and sell real pay-per-views for sure. And
it's like, are they even going to have Francis fight? Like, is he ever going to do MMA fight for them?
It's also going to be hard for Francis to pass up the pay he's been getting. So it's going to be tricky.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Make $10-15 million boxing, or maybe $1 million have fight.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Francis. I mean, I'm happy for him because he was able to. The UFC treated him like shit for no reason, just treated him like shit, and he was able to get his way out. He made way more money than everybody anticipated he would ever make. So good for him.
Super happy for him, absolutely.
And it's like, oh, he just got knocked out. Okay, he got knocked out in another sport by a guy that's one of the best in the world at that other sport. Like that's just is what it is. If the best boxer on planet Earth came to MMA and got submitted in the first round, does that mean he's a useless, worthless boxer? No.
Yeah. James Tunney against Randy Couture, you know?
Yeah, back in the day.
Tunney wasn't he wasn't the greatest, but I mean, he was still a good boxer.
Yeah, he was a heavyweight. I mean, the problem is boxing has like 5 champs, but he was a heavyweight champ. So, but yeah, I mean, it's good for Francis. He was able to, I mean, make more money there than he would have ever made in the UFC for sure. So,
absolutely.
You got anything else for me here before I attack some of these comments here?
No, I was just going to say, you know, the last time I called in with you guys, it was on my phone. And now because of, you know, how well the betting's been going, I'm on a laptop now and everything.
There you go.
Living the good life. Join Premium. You guys are freaking great. It's been a little rough, but, you know.
Oh, it's been rough.
We go through ups and downs. And still, like, just being able to add extra sharp picks to what you're already doing and changing your mindset and what kind of bets you're looking at. Stop chasing the huge ass parlays that never hit. Break them down into singular bets.
There you go.
It's the way to go.
I genuinely, we obviously appreciate the support. So thanks for calling in and thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
All right. We'll see you. I'm going to hit up some comments. Technically, next is WoW. You keep calling in and I keep kicking you. The reason I keep kicking you is you don't have a camera on and it says no devices connected. So try to call in from your phone, but I can't throw you on this show without your camera on. God knows what's waiting in the audio. So got to kick you and then go ahead, throw your camera on, call back in. There was a whole bunch of comments. Let me work my way through these comments. Hold on. In the awkward silence, there may be some while I'm reading these. I'm trying to find. I saw a whole bunch as we were going through. My cheeks itch. Give me 30 seconds to hit some of these comments, and then we'll get you on. Your camera's also not working, by the way. Okay. I went back too far. Angelo, why do you think these UFC wrestlers aren't performing Olympic slams in the cage? It seems like it's a powerful tool when used. When you say Olympic slams, you talk about Greco-Roman throws and things like that. I mean, you don't have to go back that far to watch Daniel Cormier just absolutely over his head slam people down. That was within the last 5 years or so. So it's certainly there for the taking for some people. It's crazy I didn't pick Lipsky. Okay, well, why don't you pick her? She's plus money now, bud. Let's see. Jalen's in the safety parlay. I'm assuming clean cheeks is my cheeks itch, so I'm going to kick that other account. You're logged in here twice. Let me hit up some of these comments. I'll throw you on here real quick. The It Factor throwing a full-blown temper tantrum. Y'all can get mad at me and call me dumb all you want, but if you think the judges aren't influenced, here's the funny part about this argument. So if anybody was following along, he was insisting that the scoring criteria for UFC judges said one thing. Then, when I was very clear that it doesn't actually say any of that, you're making assumptions. And go find facts. Show me where it says it. All these rules are public. You can Google it. You can go to the Nevada Athletic State Commission website, pull up the actual scoring criteria and the rules. They're all right there, public, and you can paste them in this comment section. But when he went there and he found that it doesn't say striking is more important than grappling, it doesn't say damage is more important than grappling. Now he's completely pivoted his argument. His argument is no longer, well, these are the rules, bro. Because if we scroll up, that was the comment. Those are the rules, bro. Well, now we've backed up and we've pivoted the argument. And now the argument is, well, judges are influenced. You're naive. And that's how you know somebody lost an argument. The attempted pivot. The problem is, I missed your argument. I will argument till I die. And argument, I know, is not the right word in that context. But you don't grow up where I grow up, around the people I grew up with, and not just argue my fucking ass off. So nice try, pal. Pivot's not going to work here. Oh my gosh, 1337 probably doesn't realize that there are no fights this weekend. The fights, UFC Vegas 91, that is next weekend. That is not this weekend. So the safety parlay for that is not up yet. I'm waiting for the round line leans to see what I can get there. Couple more comments here. He certainly is going off assumption. That's the prop. Like, there are narratives in the space, right? If we go back to the, what were those illegal knees versus Movsar Evloev? Or they were not illegal. There was a whole bunch of assumptions. What's illegal? Oh, sorry, they were illegal. Now I'm forgetting. There's a whole bunch of assumptions against what's legal, what's not illegal. Different commissions have different rules. And those rules are public. They're available to the public online. But before people throw temper tantrums and everybody's a genius, just check the rules and read the rules, because there are a lot of random assumptions on how things work. It's not an assumption. It's called reading between the lines. Use common sense. Again, this gentleman not 10 minutes ago thought he was speaking fact. It's the rules, bro. And now we are no longer speaking in fact. We're making judgments by reading between the lines. This is how you know somebody has lost an argument. And it's tough to see somebody take such a big loss on a platform. It's just tough. Clean cheeks, get your hand out of the way. What are you doing? How are you? Welcome.
Oh, my bad.
No, I'm just fucking with you. How are you? What's going on?
Good. We got to talk to you about this PFL. I'm telling you, once Artem gives you some solid picks that you parlay together, you're going to start understanding, because it's not about entertainment. It's about the money that's being made.
I can't be betting on shit I know nothing about. I can't do it.
But
can't do it.
They have
are his picks good? I know some cards.
Yeah, when you parlay all of them, maybe he'll hit sometime. But then last week with Mads Burnell and Nadeau, those are the only two. So if you parlayed everybody but those two, you would have won, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Well, then do a round
so
robin. You know what a round robin is?
Yeah, I don't know how to make that work. I bet that I'm probably missing something there.
So the way a round robin, and I'm probably going to mess this up. The way a round robin, let's say you have 10 picks. The way a round robin works is you pick all 10 fighters, and it will build every combination of parlay between those fighters. It'll do a parlay of 1 through 10, then a parlay of 1 through 9, 1 through 8, 1 through 7, 1 through 6, 1 through 5, 1 through 4. Then 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4. Like, it does every combination of parlay that you could possibly do with the math. So you end up with like 100 parlays or whatever it is. But when you do a round robin and one fighter loses, a whole bunch of parlays are going to break that had that fighter in it, but a whole bunch of parlays are going to hit too because there were a bunch without that fighter in it. So that's
don't
how
you have to throw down
works.
like $1,000? Like, say if it was like
You end up with
$10 on each.
Well, you don't do $10 on each. You end up with like, I mean, however much you want, but you end up with like 100 parlays at $1 each, or even 50 cents each. Stuff like that. So that's just a very general, broad brushstroke of what it is. But that's when you do round robins, pick your most confident, 5 or 6 most confident, and then just let it do it. If you lose 2, you're fucked.
Yeah, that
It's
does
all
sound
gone.
a whole lot better.
Yeah, it's good when you know a good amount and not, it's better than a whole card parlay that'll never hit.
Yeah, those are when those get close, it's like it's a fun ride, and then when someone breaks it, it's just the heartbreak. Did you look at the card yet?
PFL?
The one next week?
Yeah. I already posted the
no.
video.
Next week. Okay.
Yeah, I already.
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
Yeah.
listen, my commitment to the people are that every Sunday, no matter what, week on, week off, every Sunday, there will be a breakdown video. That's my commitment to the people.
Nah, I'm always on those because like I listen to you first because then I gotta see what the voice of reason says first, and then Jacob's video kind of comes out a lot later though. And it's kind of sometimes I miss him.
It's the normal cadence is supposed to be me on Sunday, him on Monday, then our joint show Tuesday. But sometimes he won't do a Monday show or like his own if we're live earlier, or he'll bump it to like Wednesday. So his bounces around a little bit. And I only missed one Sunday in 2 years when I was on family vacation, so that went up on Monday instead.
Victor Henry being minus 650, like
great. Oh, it moved that much. That's so funny.
Well, I mean, that's what Tapology's saying. I don't know if they update all the time.
I'll tell you right now. I got the odds up. Let's see. Victor Henry. Where is he? He's minus 500. And it's because Ronnie Yaya's 40 and he was just knocked out cold. But like Victor Henry's a pretty unreliable guy at times. He should win. But like, didn't he lose to a 40-year-old already? Didn't he already lose to what's his name?
He lost to Tony Gravely, no contest, Javid, Rafael Sensao. He lost
to a Sunsao?
Yeah, a year ago, yeah.
A Sunsao was 40 at the time. So this wouldn't be the first 40-year-old jiu-jitsu black belt he lost to. It'd be the second.
Yeah, but I just like I don't really like Victor Henry to be throwing him in parlays like I guess those people did at those odds. Well,
that's what I'm saying. I agree. He should win. Ronnie Yaya's old and beat up, so Victor should win. But the odds get a little far.
And I'm trying to see if I can guess the lock of the week. David Onama should be. If he doesn't do David Onama, then I don't know who else.
Let's see. Well, Karini Silva's no longer an underdog. I don't know his picks. I don't think he's done them yet. So I don't know his picks, but underdog wise, let's see. Not Marnik Man. Liang Na was his lock of the week years ago. It can't be again. I mean, Onama's a decent underdog pick. It might be Dirty Bird over Uros Medik.
Tim Means? Oh, God.
It shouldn't be, but it might be. It can't be.
He lost to Morono. Oh, no.
Poor decision making Morono.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another just old. The sport's just a little too fast for him at this point. Austin Hubbard's a decent dog.
But
Not a lot of great ones.
He's out of the Anchorage Jiu-Jitsu. Oh no, you can't trust people fighting out of Alaska, except for what's his name? 185. Cannonier. Isn't Cannonier out of Alaska?
Does he look like an Alaskan?
No. Like
that guy's not out of Alaska.
I'm pretty sure he had his first camp was in Alaska, but I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking.
Oh shit! I googled Jared Cannonier in Alaska. Hold on. He's from Dallas, dude.
Oh, he is? Okay. Maybe I'm thinking the wrong person. Thank God. Oh, no, the guys in the comments. Yeah, I am right.
Despite being born in Texas, has links to Alaska. He worked for the Federal Aviation Administration in Anchorage as an air traffic control mechanic. Took up a job after being discharged by the Army for testing positive for marijuana. Cannonier also trains at Legacy Jiu-Jitsu in Alaska, and he's a purple belt. So I guess he did live in Alaska.
I got it. Oh, yeah. Wow. But, like, I don't know. I remember somebody said don't trust any fighters out of Alaska. Well, except for Cannonier. That's what I thought.
It's not a big it's not
exactly.
Medic
is there.
Uros is good. I mean, Uros is very good, for sure.
By Matt Semmelsberger, Omar Morales, Jalen. He lost to Jalen Turner. Okay, never mind. I thought that was
who lost to Jalen Turner.
Uros. He
who
lost by a rear naked choke. That was 2 years ago.
I mean, Jalen Turner's good when he's not a quitter. When he doesn't just roll on his side and beg the referee to stop the fight, he's very good.
I think 2 parlays would have won if he won. I don't even want to remember about it. I really don't.
It wasn't even the law. It wasn't like not every fighter that you want to win is going to win. That's just the reality of this sport. And it wasn't even, I'm not even mad at the walk-off knockout that wasn't a knockout. It's the turning his head to the side when things got tough on the ground. We just watched Moicano come back from being almost dead. And you can't do us that same courtesy. You're just going to quit. You're just going to turn your head sideways knowing full well the ref's going to stop it.
The Bobby Green knockout probably, gave him nightmares. Like, I don't want to do that to someone ever again. Yeah, he softened him up. And then, oh, man, he got beat. How do you just quit like that? That's wild to me.
I mean, there's a lot of things in this sport that I'll never understand. And it is a new sport. Like 30 years sounds like a long time. 30 years is not a long time. And it's been 30 years since the first ever UFC. It hasn't been 30 years since people actually cared. People didn't care until the Stephan Bonner fight, which was like, 15 years ago?
Maybe. Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, that's what that was, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Ultimate Fighter finale. That was in, hold on. I don't know how to look at the first one. What year was that? 2004. So 20. All right. So 20 years. It's been 20 years since people actually cared. So we're still not even fully into like a full generation of kids that grew up watching it. And so we're not even there yet. So the things that drive me nuts in this sport, people who are phenomenal jiu-jitsu and suck at wrestling. The people who are phenomenal at striking and suck at wrestling. Like those things will never make sense.
It's hard though.
I get it, but these are supposed to be the best fighters on planet Earth, and you can't get.
No, that's what Dana wants to confuse everybody. That's why he has all these people coming here jobbers. It's just like the WWE. He took a page out of Vince McMahon. It's not contenders and champions. It's jobbers, contenders, and champions.
What's a jobber?
Like people who are just going to be a stepping stool for like the next guy. Yeah.
But let's see. Like Mackenzie Dern's a perfect example. She's not a jobber. They wanted her to be somebody. They pay her a fortune. She's like the highest paid fighter on almost all the cards she's on. But she can't wrestle to save her life. She's so good at one single thing. Can't wrestle to save her life.
All the fine girls are going to be getting their walking papers soon. Like, I think Pollyanna, she loses her next fight, she's done.
I'm surprised she's not already done.
Me too.
Didn't she lose a couple in a row already? I am surprised she's not done.
She's almost done. They got Paige Van Zandt out of there. Because, like, if she was good, like, if she had the skill of Ronda Rousey, she'd be everywhere.
100%. And a lot of it is just unfortunate timing with some of them. Like Paige Van Zandt was just lightning in a bottle with like when she got popular. But the problem was there was just a bunch of like killer, actual, very good, very well-rounded girls right there, just ready to take it all away from her. And then they did.
The lesbians. That's what they need more of them. And they're all from Brazil too. That's really what's funny about it. They're all from Brazil.
Well, that's how it started with the men, right? 99% of the male fighters were from Brazil, the good ones.
Yeah.
And then it started to spread out across the world. But that's how, so it seems to be that all the very good female fighters are working that direction too, except Wei Lee.
And Kayla Harris, she about to run the whole league. I mean, the division. I mean, it's like, I don't know how that's going to be pretty boring too. Like, is she going to just be subbing everybody in the first 2 rounds, or we're going to be looking at some laying praise later on, which gets to the better people? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we'll find out, but I don't know who in that division is going to be able to defend all of her takedowns and do all of that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, who is going to prevent themselves from getting launched.
Wait, it's the women's weight, so I'm kind of
135.
135. So.
Yeah, women's bantamweight 135. That was Amanda Nunes' weight class. Maybe that's somebody that would have been a problem, but she's gone now.
She's gone now. It's Juliana Pena. She's in the
not a problem. Juliana Pena is an overrated hack. She's tough. She's very tough, but an overrated hack. Well, the current champion is what's her name? Raquel Pennington.
Yeah, Raquel. Okay.
That's not a problem. Because Raquel Pennington wants to fight the exact same way Holly Holm does. Hold you against the cage, rack up control time. And then Kayla Harrison just toss your ass. That's literally what happened. Oh, good. You want to hold me against the cage? That's exactly what I want to do. Toss.
But I was hyping up Holly Holm, but then something hit me like the day before. I was like, okay. Like, I saw her on weigh-ins, actually. Kayla on the weigh-ins, I'm like, oh, yeah, never mind. She's going to be throwing her around, and it's just not going to,
Holly Holm choosing to engage grappling never made any sense. Like, how are you making such poor decisions at this point in her career, as smart as she is? How is she making such poor decisions?
She snapped back into that Ronda fight. That's what that was. She thought it was going to be... She thought it was going to be sweet.
In the Ronda fight, she stayed away as far as possible, kept distance, like literally avoided contact at all costs. In the Kayla fight, she's like, "Let me close the distance. Let me do that," which was just dumb, made no sense.
But how does she go from barely beating Aspen Ladd to kicking the hell out of Holly Holm?
I talked about it a little bit because everybody's talking about like, oh, she lost to Pacheco and blah, blah, blah. First of all, she had already beaten Pacheco twice. She had already made multiple millions of dollars in the PFL. I think she was just over it. She just literally needed a change of scenery. She was over it, wasn't taking it seriously, didn't care. To be that good and nobody watches, I don't think she gave a shit. And then she finally came over to the big leagues and it's just like, now I care again, and had to put the work in to lose the weight. And, and actually, like he said, she can elbow now. Elbows weren't a huge factor in that fight. I mean, she just tossed Holly Holm like it was no big deal. But, I think a lot of it was just literally promotional fatigue. She was just over it. Like, fuck PFL. I could be the biggest star they've ever had, and I'm still not a star.
One more thing. Are you going to do you watch Dana White Contender Series? Like, are you going to get ready for, like, the next up-and-coming fighters? Like, that way you get, like, a better look, like, if they're an underdog in their first fight, and then you'd be like, oh, maybe I'll just take him his first fight and see what happens.
The problem with us is we directly compete with the Contender Series, so we're on at the exact same time, Tuesday nights. So we'll either have to just move the show to Mondays or figure something out. But I will watch Contender Series fighters when they're going to fight in the UFC. I'll go back and watch, but I don't watch the Contender Series live.
That's the Jacobs thing, I guess.
Yeah, I just consume so much freaking, like, it's so much MMA. It's too much because I can't even just watch it and relax. I gotta like take notes, and so I stick to just UFC and that's it. I will watch. What I do love is those Fury grappling when they get all the big name UFC fighters.
Really? You like Fury, huh?
Yeah, because they get like the big name UFC fighters and it's like cool matchups you'd never get in an actual cage and it's grappling. So I'll watch that. Those I'll watch.
Okay.
That I like. They do a good job. Like, they make it like basically a celebrity grappling match is essentially what it turns into. And I like that.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. It's as long as you're not saying you watch Power Slap religiously. That
no, not Power Slap.
No, I'm just saying as long as
okay. I was like, I want to make sure we are very clear. Jacob and I watched that once, like during one of these, and it was just terrible. It's not. It's cringy, and then I'm not saying cringe like a young guy. Ooh, that's cringe, bro. Cringy, like you literally like, God. Their faces swell up on one side. It's just hard to watch.
That's actually barbaric to see people like. I don't know. I don't know why I feel different towards it than I do like watching fights, but like something about just letting you get slapped as hard as possible just doesn't sit right with me. You can't defend yourself like
at all. You can't. Literally, your hands are behind your back.
Behind your back, and it's just like if you go first, I feel like if there's odds out, like I would hammer the favorite. At least most of the time, like, because like if you give somebody good enough, you can go out in the first one.
It seems, I don't know, I have no idea how often underdogs win in Power Slap, but it does seem like the type of sport where the favorite will win because you're the favorite because you hit harder and you get to go first. Okay, yeah. First. So pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward.
But thanks, Angela. Love your channel. Love everything. And
I appreciate you calling in.
Have a good night. And it's kind of relaxing without the salamander here. No, you're not getting your interruptions.
I'm not getting my interruptions, but it's never the same without.
Yeah,
Jacob.
I know. We love you, Jacob.
It's certainly less chaotic.
But have a good night, sir. You stay well.
All right. Appreciate you. Thanks for calling in. A couple of comments here to catch up on. Devin Davis said, how many hours a week does Angelo and Jacob spend watching tape? How many hours a week does Angelo and Jacob spend watching tape per week? A little redundant. I feel like a lot of content creators are focused so much on making more content that it gets watered down. I can't speak for other people. I can't speak for Jacob either, but I will tell you, Jacob most likely, in all seriousness, probably watches more tape than any other person in this space, not even close. Like not Jacob watches tape like for UFC 300. How much tape do you really need to watch UFC 300, right? Like how many Weili? I don't need to go watch Weili tape. I've seen Weili fight 100 times over. So I didn't watch tape on Weili going into that fight, but Jacob did. Jacob watches tape on every single fighter on every single card, regardless of how popular, like Chris Curtis. I didn't go watch Chris Curtis tape to break down that main event. We'd just seen him fight. We just broke him down a month ago. But Jacob not like watches tape on every single fighter, regardless of if they just fought the week before. So Jacob quite literally watches more tape than anybody else. I will watch tape on, my normal flow, obviously I have to watch tape on people I haven't seen before. I have to watch tape on people that haven't fought in a while. I have to watch tape on people that, even if they fought recently, they're not a big enough name for me to remember, or they don't have enough octagon time, cage time. But typically my flow going into a week, because everybody's always like, wow, how do you get this done on Sundays? Like this, your videos are so early. I'm multiple weeks ahead. UFC 301, I have all the graphics done, and I have all of my notes in order. I didn't do my picks yet, but I have my notes in order. So what I do is I have a massive spreadsheet. Every event is a new tab. So we're now hundreds of tabs deep. And every single event, it's fighter A, fighter B. And then I say fighter A, how they fight. Like, come forward striker who blah, 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 blah. Fighter B, same thing. And then I do the actual pick itself. So when I do a new breakdown, I go back and I look at my previous notes. I move them to the new sheet because if Alex Pereira is, a world-renowned kickboxer with an amazing left hook, he's that guy 2 fights ago, he's that guy now. So I take the notes, and then if I have to go back and watch tape, I'll go back and watch tape and adjust them based off of their last fight. Or hopefully I watched their last fight live and I took my notes then. So depending on how often I've broken somebody down or how often they fight, I won't need to watch tape. I didn't watch a single minute of Alex Pereira tape going into last week's main event at all. But for UFC Vegas 91, I watched a shit ton of tape. Because if it's a super close fight and I don't know what side to pick, I'll watch all the tape. If it's somebody I've never seen before, I'll watch all the tape. Anytime I see an underdog that I like Karine Silva was a dog, and I picked her and I bet on her, I went back. Before I locked in that bet, I went back and watched multiple fights because I'm like, why is she a dog? What am I missing? So, we do watch a shit ton of tape for sure. But Jacob specifically, the tape that guy watches is absolutely insane. Let's catch up on some other comments. Am I related to Matty Betts? No, I'm not. We probably look similar. I have spoken to him a few times. Good guy. But no, we're not related at all. What else we got? And I will shut this down a little bit. I typically do these for 1 hour with Jakey Boy, no Jacob. And we just did one on Tuesday, and it's a week off. Scapegoat, I don't know if you're trolling or not. If you're not trolling, let me know. 2010. I may have went to school with you in 2010. I wasn't in school in 2010. So, Scapegoat definitely trolling. Let's see. It was redundant. All sorts of stuff going on here. But, guys, it's going to be an interesting week. Because as UFC 300 was the greatest card of all time, UFC Vegas 91 is quite literally, no exaggeration, the worst card I've ever seen in my life. It literally is the worst UFC card in history. And if you watch my quick picks video, I established a theme in that video, a very redundant theme. I kept saying redemption, redemption, redemption. And that's because there's 26 fighters on that card, and 20 of them, I forget the number. I don't have my notes in front of me. Hold on. Let me pull up my notes. I don't want to say it wrong. Please hold. Pulling up my fancy spreadsheet I just talked about. 18 of the 26 fighters at UFC Vegas 91 are coming off of a loss. 18. 13 fights on that card. Only one of those fights is between two people who didn't just lose. It's quite literally the worst card we've ever seen. There's zero name power whatsoever. The main event, worst main event anybody could have ever dreamed of. The worst main event we could have ever dreamed of. Mateusz Nicolau, who's supposed to be a fun, good striker, very technical, great. He's all those things. He was also unconscious in his last fight. And who's he fighting? Alex Perez, a guy who hasn't won a fight in 4 years. 4 years he wasn't able to win a fight. Him and Conor McGregor have the same amount of wins in the last 4 years. Alex Perez and Conor McGregor have the same amount of wins. Gobbler, it's a fucking ass main event. I don't want to hear it. This is crazy to pretend this is not a good main event. This is an ass main event. And when I say it's a bad main event, the fight being exciting, we won't know that till after the fight. So I'm only speaking from a name recognition standpoint. And from a name standpoint, two unranked fighters coming off of losses, one of whom was unconscious, face down. The other one hasn't won a fight in 4 years. That's a fucking terrible main event. Now, may it be one of the best fights we've ever seen? Potentially. Any fight could be. But that one could be. Two strikers, scrappy guys, could be. But name recognition-wise, quite literally the worst fight I have ever seen in a main event slot. People bitch about some of these fight night minutes. People complained about the Chris Curtis, Brendan Allen fight being a main event. Amanda Hebas versus Rose Namajunas being a main event. At least Rose Namajunas is a former champion. Amanda Hebas had coming off a nice win. At least Brendan Allen was on a 6-fight win streak at the time. Well, what could you possibly... I would love to hear somebody in the comment section, somebody give me your sales pitch for the UFC Vegas 91 main event, okay? So if we go back to the Amanda Hebas card, the sales pitch for that is young killer back at her original weight class where she just knocked somebody out cold, fighting the former world champion at who her new weight class, whatever the fuck, right? Brendan Allen on a 6-fight win streak, looking to redeem himself against the last loss in his career. There you go. There's your headline. What the hell is the headline sales pitch for UFC Vegas 91? All right, It Factor, you're in timeout. You're a fucking negative Nancy loser bitch. I don't have time for that clown show. Get the fuck out of here. You got nothing better to do? It's a Thursday night. Either A, be normal and cool, or B, find a friend. But I guess it's hard to do when you're not normal or cool. I hate, fight does not go the distance. That is probably a solid bet. Wrong pin. I'm actually in a good mood. God damn, I keep pinning. Here we go. Fight does not go the distance is probably a solid bet because Alex Perez is old. He is tough. We just saw that in the Makayev fight, but he's just old and hasn't won. Mateusz Nicolau just straight up unconscious. Flyweights fight for their job on a slow weekend in a busy month. That's the sales pitch. That's a solid sales pitch. Here we go. Did you just watch the greatest UFC event of all time? Are you coming off the high that was UFC 300 and you are drooling, clamoring, begging for more high-level MMA? Well, Saturday night, watch UFC Vegas 91 as flyweights fight for their job on a slow weekend in a busy month. And it will only cost you $8 a month through ESPN+. What a joke. $1.99 super chat from Chuck of the North. Hey, Ange, in-depth breakdown with Jacob this week. Chuck, thank you for the $1.99. I also have a sneaky suspicion that you don't realize the fights are not this weekend. The fights are next weekend. This is technically an off week, so you did not see a breakdown with Jacob and I because we didn't do it yet. We're doing it on Tuesday, 5 sleeps from now, whatever it is. So thank you for the $2 super chat, but that is why you didn't see that video. This is an off week. I know I trick people into thinking it's not an off week because every single Sunday I am giving you a breakdown of the next card, regardless of when that is, but it is an off week. And I agree with this logic, Artem. Artem's saying it's crazy they didn't put a good card after UFC 300 because they have so much to talk about. The promotion, they brought a lot of people in. They have the Conor announcement. They could have capitalized. Well, this was established before the Conor thing was probably 100% official, but I do agree. It's crazy there's not a good card right before it and right after it. Sandwich it. That is surprising. What's even more surprising is, let's say it's a fight night, right? You're not going to get everybody to watch fight nights. There's plenty of people that only watch the pay-per-views. Plenty of genuine MMA fans that will only watch the pay-per-views, let alone the casual fans. And this community, Rogan, you're just saying dumb shit. Do I need to hear the breakdown of Marnik Man? Here's the breakdown of Marnik Man. Marnik has been bodied in her last 2 fights, but she is still a cannonball who will charge forward and swing for the fences. She's much better than people think, and she can absolutely win this fight. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm sleeping on Marnik. What do you want me to put $1,000 on her? What a joke. People just say shit. It's incredible. I've just lost my train of thought. Oh, there are plenty of people that are actual MMA fans that only watch the pay-per-views. And then you have quote-unquote casuals who will come in for the big pay-per-views. First of all, being a casual, to me, making that an insult is wild. Being a casual fan of a sport's like a normal thing to be. That's a very normal thing. I don't know why the MMA community latched on to casual. I've never heard a Cowboys fan call another Cowboys fan a casual. Anyway, what I am more surprised at than this fight night being the worst fight night in the history of cards, I am more surprised that UFC 301 is also dog shit. Because you, at the very least, scooped up a whole bunch of these like pay-per-view fans. I had a couple of guys over, they watched the fights. And they have watched fights in the past, so it wasn't the first time. But they're not watching every single weekend. And they had a spectacular time. They saw some of the best fights that have ever happened. And now when I say, hey guys, you coming over for UFC 301? It's going to be, hell yeah, we're coming over for UFC 301. And then UFC 301 kind of sucks. Now, it does have decent matchups. There's a couple of undefeated people, lots of good prospects. They didn't do the Brazilians any favors in a lot of those 301 matchups. But Steve Erceg, Genius Bars, Steve Erceg is fighting for a title in the main event. The co-main event is an unretired 48-year-old Jose Aldo. And I'll watch it. I'm going to buy it. All those things. But the reality is, it's not a good card. That surprises me more than this fight night not being good. How do you not do the immediate next pay-per-view? Like 299 was spectacular. 300 was spectacular. 301 should be spectacular. And then fine, you ran out of big stuff. 303 is obviously huge again with Connor, but it will be interesting. Omnipolar says, my life revolves around MMA. Artem, I have no life. Listen, you think your life revolves around MMA. Try running a business dedicated to MMA. Legit. Try running a business. It affects my like mental health. No fights this weekend seems like a great thing. No fights this weekend is like, oh, I can finally just on a Saturday just chill and do whatever. Seems great. But you know what happens all week long? All week long, I stress, I get anxiety over the fact that we are not growing at the same pace that we were last week, last month, 10 weeks ago. It drives me crazy that I don't see these numbers continue to go up because if we're not first, we're last. And if we are not growing at a rate 10 times faster than everybody else, then we are miserable failures. And it drives me nuts. And no, this isn't incorrect. This is a fallacy. No fights means less revenue for Angelo. That's just straight up incorrect. 90% of our revenue comes from, obviously, more fights, bigger fights, more eyes will result in more revenue. Most of our revenue comes from premium memberships. And no fight week doesn't affect that, if that makes sense. If all of our money came from YouTube views, then no fights is a major problem. So no, this is just an incorrect statement. This is what we have done better than most people is we've diversified. There's multiple revenue streams, whether it's sponsors, whether it's affiliate links, whether it's premium membership, YouTube. We've diversified the avenues of revenue, which is what anybody trying to run a business should do. So if there's not fights, not one specific arm collapses. Obviously, the money that we make the week of UFC 300 is very different than the money we make in January when there's one fight at the end of the month. Obviously, there's direct correlation, but a week off doesn't matter. So just honestly, Artem's just the dumb shit that it's. If we didn't have PFL this week, I probably would time you out, honestly, like frankly. And that's a perfect example. Artem, think about this. Think about what everybody's favorite genius Artem just said. And I'm going in on you, bud. No fights means less revenue. Artem put up a video on our channel breaking down PFL. There are quite literally fights this week with a video on the channel. You'd think Artem would use this time wisely to say, hey guys, what are you talking about? No fights. I just broke down an amazing card. I gave you my picks. And if you're a premium member, you have my bets. PFL is going to be spectacular to watch. Check out my video. That's what Artem should have said. But he didn't. And now I'm giving Artem a lesson about how to promote yourself in a meaningful way without being a weirdo. So there you go, Artem. Learn the lesson. It's unbelievable. When people call me a casual, I like literally would wear that as a badge of honor. Like, awesome. Great. I wish I could just casually watch fights. You know how hard it is to watch these fights? Even in my media room for UFC 301. I've got two buddies there. I have my laptop. And on my laptop, I'm accounting for bets. I'm trying to find pictures for my recap show. I'm trying to keep I can't even just sit there. I can't even drink anymore because I want to get the recaps out as quickly as possible. I want to get the recaps out. I filmed that recap at 2 o'clock in the morning, the last two cards, or whatever it was. The UFC Atlantic City and then UFC 300. So I can't even get drunk and watch the fights like I used to. So I wish I was a casual. It'd be much easier. All right, guys, I'm going to shut this down before I make Artem absolutely cry. I do appreciate you all watching. We had 200-something people in here watching live. No Jakey boy. We took some calls. We hung out a little bit. I rant, I raved. I yelled at some bum that doesn't understand the actual MMA rules because he thinks his opinions are actual facts. And unfortunately, that's just not how these things work. Where's the red guy? It's an off week. He's just enjoying the free time. He's not red, guys. That's strawberry blonde. I appreciate you hanging out. If you're not a premium member, I ask that you become one. For that ranting and raving that I just did, it's what keeps the lights on. Premium membership is what supports everything that we do. And in turn, we try to give you the best possible platform on planet Earth. We give you Artem, charismatic, charming Artem. We also give you an artificial intelligence picking fights at an incredible accuracy. We give you a DraftKings optimizer. We give you detailed data, metrics, and analytics. We give you the line movement tracker. And then that's a slide that shouldn't even be anymore. But guys, WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It is only $10 a month. You'll unlock everything you could ever want or need. UFC Vegas 91 is up and ready to go. It Factor says, you got a new hater tonight. Well, I'll tell you what. Then let's just get rid of you. Hit Factor is no longer a part of this channel. See how easy that is? Dude showed up, negative Nancy the whole time, trying to plug his own shit. Arriva Dutch, my friend. I did see a question, and then I will go. Somebody said, can you explain the 10 fights per night strategy that we were discussing? What? Is this to me? Or is this to Artem? That can't be for me. Guys, thanks for hanging out. Genuinely appreciate you. Sunday, I will have another new quick picks up, updated for the UFC Vegas 91 card. And then I don't know if we're going live Monday or Tuesday. I got to talk to Jakey Boy. If he was on here, I'd talk to him, but he didn't show up. So I'll talk to Jakey Boy. We'll figure out if we're going to do our full card breakdown Monday or Tuesday. Thanks for watching. I appreciate every last one of you.